...2024 has come to a close. A very interesting year for many, and personally for me, the one word I would use to describe 2024 is ouch. But a lot of cool music came out. I've been doing a series like this for the past few years, where I look at the past 365 days that were. Because I don't know if you guys knew, but I enjoy listening to music. And that means I will be discussing my favorite singles, honorable mentions, and the top 10 albums of 2024. This list, rather challenging. This year was stacked when it came to music. So if your personal favorite album does not appear on this list, there was a lot of shit. Whoops. And as of me recording this, there's about 30 seconds left in the year, so I don't think that there's going to be any other last minute records, are there? So without further ado, allow us to begin. The top singles of 2024. Jake, you cannot change angles in the microphone you record with mid-video. Dog, watch me. I'm currently doing it. So top singles of 2024 is already going to be a little weird because I was going to do top 10 singles of 2024, but a lot of good shit came out. These will be in no particular order. And my rule for this is the song can only appear on this list if it is not attached to a top 10 album, because if it was, then this entire section would just be all tracks from the top 10 album. What the fuck is, there's no fun in that. So without further ado, let's begin. Kendrick Lamar, Man at the Garden. Standout track from Kendrick Lamar's surprise album GNX. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you're scratching your head like, man, who is this Kendrick Lamar fellow? Like, is he like a new up-and-coming LA rapper? But Man at the Garden was a personal standout for me on GNX. The production is so seething. Kendrick Lamar has these peaks and valleys of intensity, and it's a bubbling away. It has this eerie, very understated production. It's just awesome. Vampire Weekend Capricorn, with the moments of classic soft rock instrumentation mixed with darn near distorted choruses, like explosive booming choruses. This is a track that really stood out to me from their latest album, and something that I've come back to many times since I've listened to it. Igloo Ghost, Flux, Cocoon. While I might not have been the biggest fan of his latest full-length album, Flux Cocoon was a standout in that album, and for me personally, all of Igloo Ghost's discography. Hearing Igloo Ghost produce like deconstructed industrial glitch trap as he's rapping in a made-up language, like, yo, what are we doing, man? Like, Gou the Arsonist, Right Between the Eyes. This is an individual that I've heard buzz about for a while, and I've had many patrons suggest their music for my Patreon exclusive series, I've Been Listening Shit, and I decided to check out Right Between the Eyes, and this track kinda fucks. It's so distorted, grimy, and a pretty cool beat switch about 2/3 the way through the track that really catches me off guard in the best of ways. Bon Iver's SPEYSIDE. No new Bon Iver album, but we got a nice little Sable EP, and the fans have been waiting for an official release of SPEYSIDE for the longest time, and it withstood the hype. It's a beautiful track, mostly acoustic with some beautiful string arrangements, and Justin Vernon's haunting, echoey voice is just like, it's peak classic Bon Iver. And it's so weird that he can be this weird, glitched out experimental artist that I love, but also be a folk and indie singer-songwriter artist that I also love. Alexander's radio experiment, I've Been Blind. Friend of the show, fellow music YouTuber, Kyle Reed, under the pseudonym of Alexander's Radio Experiment, released an album earlier this year, Corporate House, and the standout track for me has been I've Been Blind. It's a great fun track to put on in the background. You've probably heard it in a few of my videos, and it's a song that I keep coming back to over and over again. Peggy Gou's Back to One. Peggy Gou, off her meteoric TikTok rise, released an album with an album cover that was undeniably fantastic, so had to check it out, and this was one of the standouts for me. Back to One is the perfect mixture of penis music-y, house, Berlin, like techno, all smushed together with awesome vocals, might I add. It's just such a weird combination for me personally. When I heard it, I was mesmerized by it, and it's just so fun, funky, and danceable. This has been on repeat ever since I heard it, in most of the year. Magdalena Bay, Image. Magdalena Bay is popping off right now, and good for them, rightfully so, and their track Image popped off for me personally. The mixture of nice, catchy pop, some sprinkles of fun techno here and there, with a distorted ass bass ending that gets me enthralled. It's a great track, a great listen. I'm so proud of Magdalena Bay for really popping off this year, and I hope that their growth knows no bounds. Between Friends, Drive Over Me. I heard this track browsing one of my Apple Music stations, and I was enthralled by it. It's so fun, it's so funky. It's the type of fun bumping track that you want to play in a car with all your friends and see them go crazy when the climax hits. It's a great track, highly recommend it, and shout out to Between Friends. Porter Robinson's Cheerleader. Ooh boy. It really took the maximalist electronic elements from Nurture and expanded upon them and added like almost an emo rock kind of vibe to it. While maybe doesn't work for the entire album, for this track, it works like a charm. And finally, Courting Pause at You. UK rock band that I had the pleasure of seeing live in Elsewhere in Brooklyn. And this is where this track develops a bit of a story because it was released on a random Wednesday, and that random Wednesday so happened to be the day that I was seeing them live. I probably was the first person to ever see Pause at You live. Not once. They played it twice. So nice they played it twice, as I think what the lead said. It's all the elements of Courting that I really enjoy. The fun, funky, tongue-in-cheek lyrics just kind of smushed together with a bit of an experimental spray paint coating to it to make damn near a pop-punk song for the ages. Very, very excited for their new album, Lust for Life, and believe it or not, you might hear their name another time before this video ends. So before we jump into the top 10 albums of 2024, how about we take a little pit stop in honorable mentions? Albums that just missed out on the top 10, but I feel like they all deserve their flowers. Tyler, the Creator's CHROMAKOPIA. I feel like a lot of you probably could have bet some kind of parlay that I would mention something about Tyler, the Creator, and hopefully I made you some money. But his 2024 effort, CHROMAKOPIA, is nothing to sniff at. Excellent production, some of the most vulnerable lyricism that Tyler has had on any project, period. And I know it's not really a part of the music, but bonus points for the absolutely insane and awesome marketing rollout for this. It was one for the books, should be taught in classrooms. Clairo Charm. This is the album where we can no longer identify Clairo as bedroom pop. She is straight up making soft rock, chamber pop, singer, songwriter music, and it's pretty darn good. Very calming, very relaxing, very soothing. A great easy listening record while also having the moments that really cut deep. And that I can appreciate. Yard Act Where's My Utopia dance punk in 2024 is going strong, and the Yard Act boys are living proof. Where's My Utopia is such a bizarre, weird, and sometimes psychotic look into the mind of British people. With elements of post-punk, dance punk, synth punk, hip-hop, spoken word, sound collage. I could make up genres, and I'm sure they've experimented on this record. A super versatile listen with many different vibes for every occasion you could think of. This one's kind of cheating because this is 2 albums, but you'll see what I mean. Amen Dune's Death Jokes 1 and 2. Death Jokes is a psychedelic alt-rock journey that I really enjoyed when I first heard it. And it's a real shame to hear the project is coming to an end, but with the announcement was released at Death Jokes 2, which is a stripped back, more minimalistic version of the first Death Jokes. I personally really enjoyed the maximalist and weird production of the first Death Jokes, so both albums work in different contexts for myself. But they're definitely not something to let go by the wayside. I was a pretty big fan, and I'd say check out both of these. If you enjoy the sound of a very psychedelic alt-rock with more maximalistic side, Death Jokes 1 is your way to go. But if you enjoy a more stripped back and a more borderline acoustic version, Death Jokes 2 is there for you. Charli XCX Brat, yeah, I know. This is an album that I think the popularity of it has garnered my enjoyment of it. I just hear it so much so often that the songs just really stick into my noodle and I can't get them out no matter how hard I try. Some awesome electropop, super catchy pop songs, and some deep introspective tracks that are some of my favorites. Shout out to Brat Summer, and if you see me walking in the streets, there's a small chance that you will hear me bumping that. Boom. See what I did there? Funny. And last but certainly not least, the one that probably had the most potential of cracking into the top 10, but just missed out. Adrianne Lenker's Bright Future. A super gorgeous, breathtaking, and just disarming listen. When I listened to it, it was in a very, very, very difficult part of my life, to the point I saved that album specifically for that difficult moment, and it did not disappoint. All my emotions just flooded out of me listening to this, and it was just such a emotive and intense experience. That first listen had such an emotional impact on me that I can't understate it. It's a beautiful record, and if you would like to go check it out, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Adrianne Lenker, just fantastic record. And finally, you've been patiently waiting for, ladies and gentlemen, the top 10 albums of 2024. And allow us to waste no more time. Number 10. Courting, new last name. I told you they would appear one more time on this list. Courting's February album, I want to say, New Last Name, was something that really opened my eyes to the band. I really enjoyed their first album, Guitar Music, and listening to their new one, New Last Name, really, it got me feeling some ways. It had some awesome tracks that were so catchy, addictive, and just fun to sing along to, and that's kind of what I was looking for. Throw, We Look Good Together, Flex, and Emily G. My goodness, the emotional weight of Emily G could keep me satiated for the next few months. Love that track so much, and seeing it live was a lot of fun. So it fits very nicely in the number 10 position. Number 9. Amyl and the Sniffers, Cartoon Darkness. This is a rather recent addition to the 2024 list week video, but gosh darn it, I heard some good things about the album, and I want to check it out for myself, and man, this is an acquired taste, much like pure black coffee. But once you get past the very intense, grating vocals, you see, oh, this is actually some of the hardest shit I've ever heard in my life, bro. Lead singer Amy Taylor has some of the most interesting, abstract, and abrasive delivery of lines, but gosh, it really works with the hard banging instrumental. Tracks like Jerkin, Chewing Gum, Tiny Bikini, You Should Not Be Doing That, Do It, and Me and the Girls are all bangers. The album truly snuck into this list for me, but gosh darn it, this has some teeth, and I was not disappointed after my first listen and multiple listens after. Number 8, Nia Archives, Silence is Loud. If you would have told me a UK drum and bass jungle album would appear on my top 10 of the year, I would say, man, you're crazy. Until you listen to it. This thing is awesome. The production is so tight, so diverse, so rhythmic, and the lead vocalist, Nia Archives, is fantastic. I think my biggest thing with jungle is it feels very repetitive. It feels very one note, but with the addition of vocals and song structures and differing vibes and instrumentations, there's a straight up acoustic track on here. One of my favorite ones, a reprise of my first favorite track. Silence is Loud, Unfinished Business, Forbidden Feelings, Tell Me What It's Like, Nightmares, Silence is Loud reprise, and Killjoy. Man, if you would like the sound of jungle that's just taken to the next level, highly recommend checking this out. I love this, and I think it's such a interesting record that I was enamored by it, and I just kept listening to it and fell in love with it. It's a great listen. Highly recommend it from this year. Number 7, Remi Wolf, Big Ideas. Another kind of late addition to the list. Only listened to this with about a month to spare in the year, but man, in that month, I have been bumping this thing like no other. This album has scratched the bubblegum pop itch that's been in my brain for a very long time, and I think it is just so fun, interesting, and Remi Wolf is a fantastic vocalist. My goodness, I love the way she strains her voice at certain parts, just really shows the emotion. It's so fun, it's so poppy, it has its down moments, but then jumps right back up with other ones. Man, this thing goes all over the place, and I love it. The big tracks Cinderella, Soup, Motorcycle, and how could I forget Toro? That is a 4-track run that, man, it could rival some of the best. Cherries and Cream, Pitiful, Wave, Frog Rock, Just the Start, straight up Daniel Johnston worship on here. Like, what is she doing, bro? She can't do that. But she did. If you want a super fun, sugary bubblegum pop experience, but has a little bit more layers and a little more interesting, weird production and vocal delivery, this is the record for you, because it was the record for me. Number 6. 21 Pilots, Clancy. I am so sick of pretending 21 Pilots does not rock, because they do. And just from the promo single off this record, Overcompensate, I knew this thing was going to rock. Do I love that they immediately reminded me of a better 21 Pilots album, Trench, in the first track? Not really, but I mean, like, the rest of it's pretty darn good too. Next Semester, Midwest Indigo, Routines in the Night, Vignette, Snapback, and Navigating, bro. Straight up block party song on here. That has gotten a lot of gym play from myself over these past few months. Probably an interesting choice to have so far up on the list, but I have a soft spot for 21 Pilots. I think this album does what 21 Pilots does best. A fun mixed bag of various different vibes, energies, and aesthetics that I can get down with. But also take this with a grain of salt, because I really enjoyed Scaled and Icy, so maybe don't listen to my 21 Pilots opinions. We are rounding down the list to the top 5, which that means number 5, St. Vincent. All Born Screaming. Yes. Annie Clark's St. Vincent, with a record that I have been gushing about in the last video, so I won't go too deep into it, but Man, how do I not? This thing, it just has a bite to it. I love it. An awesome self-produced rock album that, once again, is very interesting and rhythmically diverse. The fact that Broken Man transitions into Flea, transitions into Big Time Nothing, like, bro, you gotta stop. It's awesome. Not to mention Reckless, Violent Times. The power is out, bro. Annie Clark's St. Vincent experiments a lot on this record, and I think most of the time it works out really well, and it has some fantastic tracks. To this day, Broken Man is so high on my list. Maybe top 10 tracks of all time. I'm just saying it. I'm throwing it out there. This record's awesome. Number 4. ELUCID, Revelator. You really think you were gonna make it out of here without one of the Arm & Hammer boys being mentioned? Come on, guys. Do you know me? You should know me by now. One half of Arm & Hammer, ELUCID, really shows that he is not just the Marty Jannetty to Billy Woods' Shawn Michaels, but he is a force to be reckoned with in the abstract, experimental, I'm going to coin this term, post-rap genre. You get classic bars from ELUCID, nothing new there, but the instrumentals are just I can't even fathom them sometimes. Like, they feel like they're actively falling off the bone, like they're melting away, and he's hurriedly putting it together and turning it into this something that's insane. It's like if you gave The Alchemist just like a fuck ton of shrooms and then just like produced like some of the hardest shit of all time. The World is a Dog, CCTV, Yoda Bite, Bad Pollen, Slum of a Disregard, RFID, Instant Transfer. I just named the first 7 tracks on the album. Bro, what? Hush Puppies, XOLO, and of course, Zigzag Zig. Just some of the most insane and just like mind-melting production that I have heard in a very long time, which is why I think this lands so high on the list, because if you'll notice with my next couple of picks, the ones that are really high are when they give me something that I did not know I needed, and this was definitely something that I did not know was needed, A, or B, was possible. Top 3, guys. Get excited. Idols, TANK. Idols has been a band that has been slowly bubbling under the skin for me for a very, very long time, and they've been consistently putting out music that I've really enjoyed, while slowly moving into this like little we're gonna dip our toes into this art rock, maybe art punk scene. While it leads to some mixed results, for me, I love it. TANK has that straightforward garage rock post-punk bite that you know and love from Idols, but they dip their toes into more experimental, abstract art pop ways of production, probably thanks to Kenny Beats. And I think it works fantastically. I love Joe Talbot's voice. I think him as the lead vocalist with all this chaos while being able to tone it down if he needs to, or if the instrumental is kind of more chill, him being able to turn it up to really match the yin yang feng shui. It's just, oh my god. Gift Horse, Pop Pop Pop, and Roy, bro, that is maybe the most cursed 3-track gym set of all time. Dancer with LCD Sound System, Grace, Hall & Oates, and Monolith. My goodness, what are they doing? An awesome record that was just so fun, punky, and a little funky. From Idols, weird, right? But for me, it's great. Ooh, it's getting close, guys. Number 2, the second best album of 2024. Lip Critic, Hex Dealer. Boom! What the hell is a Lip Critic, Jake? Well, Lip Critic is a New York-based synth punk outfit. If you know me well, synth punk is one of the genres that is very, very hit or miss for me. It can either be the coolest shit I've ever heard in my life, or just poop from a butt. But newly Partisan Records signee Lip Critic did not make poop from a butt or even shit from an ass. They made a fucking excellent synth punk album that I think is not getting nearly enough shine as it should. The mixture of hard-hitting, intense acoustic drums, disorienting and aggressive synthesizer leads, and comical but also hard as fuck lyrics. There's literally a song on here about getting high and going into a Wawa and thinking you're God. I guess they read my diary, I guess. It's the magic. Love will redeem you. The heart. The heart is beating. Bork Pelly, Spirit Bomber, Death Lurker, Milky Maxed, In the Wawa, parentheses, Convinced I'm a God, and the last track, Toxin Dodger. All songs that are just insane to me. This album has the perfect mixture of everything that if it's too much, I start disliking, but it all has the dials perfectly set to all things that I love. A super, super, super duper underrated record from 2024 that I definitely think deserves a listen. It's awesome. It's pretty short with it too, so like, give it a shot. I think it's awesome. Obviously, it's number 2 on my list for the year. I think it's so sick. Shout out to Lip Critic. Love you guys. I would love to see you guys live. You're pretty epic, and the record was 2. We did it, guys. You've stuck around the video long enough that you get the privilege of learning my number 1 album of 2024. Yeah, it's what you're thinking. JPEGMAFIA, I Lay Down My Life For You. Like, bro, what? If you want a surefire, no-nonsense way to know that I really love an album that I'm listening to, it's when I buy your album on vinyl. Not once, but twice. I got the deluxe edition, too. JPEGMAFIA continues to stake his claim as one of the most interesting, experimental, boundary-pushing voices in hip-hop, period. This album was so weird and divisive, there were tracks that I straight up did not like. That I've Been Listening to Shit will haunt me till the day I die. This record has given me some peak JPEGMAFIA tracks and has given me some of my least favorite JPEGMAFIA tracks. Peak and least. Enough. That was old me. New me thinks this is 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10 album. I'm sorry. Actually, you know what? I'm not sorry because this thing is fucking insane. The intro track is just straight up a punk rock song. If I was in the NBA, I'd be Dylan Brooks, but worse. Multiple times on this album, constantly, I sit and just listen. I'm like, how did he do that? How does Sin Miedo exist? How does New Black History exist? How does Don't Rely on Other Men exist, bro? It would really do me no worth naming off the tracks that I am in love with because it's all of them. It's literally every single one of them. You have some of the most intense, hard-hitting songs JPEGMAFIA has ever produced, while simultaneously on the same album having some of the most introspective and thought-provoking ones he's ever released. But they work perfectly simultaneously. None of them feel outmatched, and it just goes to show that if a single creative vision is strong enough, it can create an experience that almost is alien, but is the best shit of all time. I'm being so serious. I've had actual legitimate arguments with myself in my head on if I can call this album perfect. And I keep winning. Yeah, I know. Shocker of the year. A Bucket of Jake's top album is JPEGMAFIA's I Lay Down My Life For You. But let's be real. Totally deserved. I hope I didn't break that shit. It's okay, I did not break the microphone. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know your favorite albums of 2024, ones that I missed and I definitely need to check out, or albums that you're excited for in 2025. 2024 was a fantastic year for music, and I'm very excited for 2025. A lot on the horizon, not just for musically, but for this channel. I'm very excited for what the new year brings. As you can tell, the new setup brings, and I'm feeling good about it. I'm very excited. I got a lot of ideas, and I can't wait to execute them. Thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. And have a great day. I'm going to go play JPEGMAFIA's I Lay Down My Life For You on my vinyl player. Hee hee.